Let's talk about authentication. Authentication is when you demonstrate you are who you say you are. So there are three different methods that we can go about this. Something you know, something you have, and something you are. Something you know, something like, for example, your username and your password, or a PIN, for example. Those would be something you know. Something you have, in this case we have here a picture of a smartphone, and there are things like Google Authenticator, for example, that you can line up. You just take a picture of a code on a web page and then set up this authentication. So you also have to have that phone with you, and if you don't have the phone with you, then you can't get the number and you can't get in. And then something you are being biometric, so fingerprints, iris scans, and things like that. We used to have this kind of thing for the something you have, and now it's more common to have that phone system. What you're looking at here is something we call multi-factor authentication. So in this case we have to have something you know, a password and a username, as well as something you have before you get access. So that's multi-factor authentication. We separate these three things. We call these each factors. And so if it's just something you know, I don't care how many things it is, username, password, PIN, if you require, let's say you require all three of those things, it's still one-factor authentication. If it's something you have, then let's say you have to have three things with you. You have to have a device like I showed you down here, and you have to have a certain smart card, and I don't know, something else. I don't care how many things you need to have, it's still one-factor authentication. But as soon as I have to know something and have something, it becomes two-factor authentication. And of course, if you also include a biometric type of authentication in here, they would have three-factor or just multi-factor authentication. So remember that each of these, something you know, something you have, and something you are all three single factors, and any combination of those is one, two, or three-factor authentication.